Folks, this is a supplemental video. It is the 1st of March 2017, and we cannot let this story go by. Newly declassified documents show that a senior CIA agent and deputy director of the Directorate of Intelligence, you've heard a lot about that agency lately, worked closely with owners and journalists with many of the largest media outlets. Newly declassified documents show that a senior CIA agent and deputy director of the Director of National Intelligence worked closely with the owners and journalists of many of the largest media networks. NBC, Los Angeles Times, Time Magazine, Newspaper Syndicate, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, U.S. News and World Report, New York Times, Time Magazine. It goes Washington Post, Fortune Magazine, Newsweek, the New York Times. It goes on and on and on. The reports continued. After 1953, the network was overseen by Allen W. Dulles, director of the CIA. By this time, Operation Mockingbird had a major influence in over 25 newspapers and wire agencies. In other words, under Operation Mockingbird, the Office of Policy of Coordination was funded by siphoning off funds intended for the Marshall Plan, the rebuilding of Europe after World War II. Some of the money was used to bribe journalists. During the early years of the Cold War, were supported sometimes lavishly by the CIA. You could get a journalist cheaper than a good call girl for a couple of $100 a month. In other words, the CIA bribed and threatened reporters. They didn't have the guts to shoot back. They're reporters. Why would they suspect their own funded agency would come against them? So the CIA hired its own reporters. More than 400 American journalists in the past 25 years have secretly carried out assignments for the Central Intelligence Agency, according to these documents. Saturday Evening Post, Newsweek, Scripps Howard, Hearst Newspapers, ABC, NBC, Associated Press, UPI, Louisville Courier-Journal, CBS, all the major news medias. Now let's fast forward to today and see how it affects us. Government massively manipulates the web, social media, and other forms of communications. Thousands of hours per week of government-funded radio and TV programs. Massive manipulating the truth. Documents released by Snowden show that they manipulate polls, websites' popularity, and page view counts, censor videos they don't like, and amplify messages they do. The CIA and other government agencies also put enormous energy into pushing propaganda through movies, televisions, and video games. 7 years ago, I did an analysis through GoDaddy. 95% of the alternate media was funded by the Department of Defense. Whoever was here 7 years ago was funded by a wing of the Department of Defense. I did that myself. We showed it on TV after TV after TV show. Where we were a small television station, Channel 23 and 77 in Seattle. Cross-border propaganda, providing foreign governments and foreign people with fake news. And if you challenge it, oh my God, they will punish you. They will take your money away. They will take your hits away. For example, the powers that be argued that only high-paid corporate media shills who will act as stenographs for the fat cats should have the constitutional protections guaranteeing freedom of the press. At a Harvard Law School professor argues the First Amendment is outdated and should be abandoned. The freedom of speech is not right. These are all government shills. Obama had gone after top reporters. His Department of Justice labeled Chief Fox News Washington correspondent James Rosen a criminal co-conspirator in a leak case, and for many years threatened to jail this Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter. Now, to be a Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter, you have to be a left-wing Nazi. So for Obama to come against a Nazi, oh my God, there's dissension among the Nazis. They spied on Rosen and the Associated Press and CBS reporter Cheryl Atkinson and other media moguls. Top NSA whistleblowers tell Washington's blog that NSA has spied on reporters for well over a decade. The Pentagon smeared USA Today reporter for investigating what they called was an illegal report. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. They interject this. The government admits that journalists could be tangled with counterterrorism laws. They threaten them. Sometimes they disappear. Sometimes they get shot overseas. These people in the CIA are ruthless. The creation of the CIA was the worst thing this world has ever seen. But they have to change now, because if they don't change, we won't have a planet. And there is a curse on that organization, everyone in it, to the 5th generation for those who are coming against Trump. They also worked with the British counterparts in MI6 and MI5 and all the other MIs. Now, how does that affect you? Well, let's look at how it affects you. Why is the FDA under gag orders to hide details about a massive cheese recall? So the CIA is purposely, in their documents they state they do this purposely, they are purposely destroying people who talk about an FDA cheese recall. Sargento's recall on a number of their cheese products for possible listeria contamination has been making major news headlines. But what you may not have heard is that an additional 130 kinds of cheese and products containing cheese are also under recall for containing the same listeria contaminated these products by Deutsche Haus LLC. A number of different brands are involved besides Sargento, but you're not hearing about it. Dutch Valley, Guggisberg, I'm a cheese fan. Meyer, H-E-B, Albertsons, and other major retailers are affected by the recall. Are you hearing anything about it? No. Because somebody paid the CIA to either let the listeria outbreak go or put the listeria in the cheese to kill and harm Americans. So while the CIA under Project Mockingbird is controlling the press, and you can read the articles yourself, the CIA even ran a formal training program for the 50s to teach its agents to be journalists. I mean, these pigs in the CIA are that, and now they're putting Americans at risk. The mass recall of over 100 different types of cheese began 3 weeks ago after random tested on Amish Classics cheeses that Tennessee inspectors had collected from a retailer tested positive for Listeria monocytogenesis. The cheese was manufactured by Deutsche Haus LLC, as are many other cheese varieties. The question is, if the CIA is covering this up, if they've ordered a gag order, if they've ordered the FDA to have a gag order, who paid them to do this? Or did they put the contaminants in the cheese? And is there more than Listeria in there? Maybe some HIV, maybe some hepatitis. Yeah, just like they used to do in the 50s. Maybe they're cycling this poison again. The idea that the FBI is bound by corporate interests is really true. Absolutely. This goes on that while listeria is a serious foodborne illness, one has to wonder if the food were contaminated with something more recognizable as a treat, would the agency still be singing the same tune? The FDA has been scrutinized for the failure to protect people of the country it allegedly exists to serve for many years. They have potentially toxic ingredients in this cheese, and the CIA has paid somebody or been involved in covering up with the FDA a food recall. Now, that's just one instance where the paid journalists of the CIA have covered up something that is affecting American health. Well, look at what they did. We did a story on Long Island with higher levels of radiation in the center of Long Island. That did not hit any other news except Superstation 95. There was not one news media that reported it. Shame on my local radio station, Cairo. Shame on Como. Shame on your leader. How dare you not tell Americans that they're at risk for high levels of radiation? Are you that much afraid of the pigs at the CIA? Get a gun, get some tear gas. If they threaten you, beat the tar out of them. Take them out back and beat them until they can't walk. That's how you deal with the CIA. You get 4 or 5 guys, because they never work alone. They always work on packs because they're little girly boys. We can't work alone. We have to have lots of people around us. Well, you know what? Get locked. Carry bear spray and hit them all. It's time for Americans to fight back. It's time for you at Cairo and Como and the other radio stations to stand up like men and say no more. Now, you can't do a news story unless it's approved, but you can certainly take these pigs in the back room and flatten them. So we're asking 1 million people to pray that the CIA news media is shut down immediately, that it goes away. No more CIA media, no more Project Mockingbird, and those involved are completely flattened for the rest of eternity, that they can't function. They're either changed to do good or they can't function for the rest of eternity. Coming to you live, Dr. William B. Mount. This is so disgusting. Their own documents state that they're harassing people on the internet. How dare they? Where are the girly boys in the U.S. Marshals? They should be arresting them. You little U.S. Marshal and Secret Service girly boys. We're trying to stop this planet from cracking in half in a nuclear war, and we're trying to stop the assassination of the president, and you frickin' girly boys in the Secret Service and you girly boys in the U.S. Marshal will not go after the CIA so that we can put out the stories that will stop this planet from getting cracked in half and stop the president from being assassinated. Are you in the U.S. Marshals and the Secret Service that frickin' stupid and cowardly? Yeah, yes you are. Because you're not stopping this. You're not stopping this. You're not arresting the director of the FDA and allowing this to be released to save American lives. You're that girly boy. You'd rather watch Americans die, you pigs. That's what I think of you as an ambassador. You are the most worthless, government collecting paycheck pigs I've ever seen, because you're not stopping the CIA. You're not even stopping the FDA. Department of Justice, my rear. Coming to you live. That's how I really feel, because you're putting Americans at risk. Right there. What if the president had some of that cheese, you pigs? Coming to you live, Dr. William B. Mount. And I hate to keep using the word pigs, but a guy collects a $75,000 a year paycheck and can't go to the director of the FBI and say, release the information? And he can't walk over to the Langley headquarters and say, stop messing with our media? Yeah. Coming to you live, Dr. William B. Mount. Thank you for watching. Why do we even pay you guys in the Secret Service? Why do we even pay you guys in the FDA and in the U.S. Marshals if you're just going to sit there and let Americans get put at risk for potential sickness and death? Why do we even pay you? Why do you even come to work and collect a paycheck? Coming to you live, Dr. William B. Mount. Thank you for coming and good night.